I want to make sure I'm alive. Yeah, I am. There I am. In all my beautiful, lovely glory. Yeah, I checked now after that incident where I was talking to the camera. And like nothing was going on. Okay. Shoot. Oh, Jesus. This live stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all that stuff is brought to you by Sarah Honda. Amazing car dealership. The number one volume dealer in the state of Michigan. Sarah Honda, Granville.com. S-E-R-R-A, Granville Honda. Wait a minute. Sarah Honda, Granville.com. I almost screwed that up. Look, fat. New, certified, pre-owned, used, and budget cars. They're all there on one lot at Sarah Honda, Granville. Okay? If you are in West Michigan, they're along Kennewell right at about 44th Street. They've been there forever, formerly Rivertown Honda. Now, of course, Sarah Honda, Granville. Please go there if you are in the market for a vehicle, all right? Mention my name, shop online if you want, just like my friends at Terrytown RV. They got a whole staff of people that can help you. Sarah Honda, Granville.com. Thank you to them. Now, this is terrible. I was all ready to go on the show. Reasonably on-time start, by the way. I think I had 8:02 for the start. And then my freaking iPad's not on. Which is a bummer. Because if I don't have the iPad on, we don't have a start to the show. And you know what? This camera is driving me nuts. And here's why. Because it's tilted slightly. So I'm going to adjust it live on the podcast. This is a very professional thing to do. Oh, God, that's terrible. Might be one of those days. Everybody's losing their shit here. Oh, man. Okay. Let's go.
And now, here's a guy who got tired of being fired by corporate radio. So he took up being fired by Patreon subscribers instead. It's the Eric Zane Show Podcast.
Thank you, Johnny. I love you, man. Where's my song? Where's my Corona song? My Corona. What's happening? Thank you so much for being part of the Eric Zane Show Podcast. It is a daily show covering news, nonsense, and my personal adventures. As always, on Facebook, there's a live element to it each and every day. So you might be listening to this pre-recorded on-demand audio off of EricZaneShow.com or your favorite podcasting platform. And you're like, oh, he's live every day? Well, hell yeah, I am. The world-famous Facebook. The immortal Facebook is there. And that's brought to you by Irvine's Auto Repair, Grand Rapids Hybrid. And that's if you ever want to interact with me directly on the show. You can always email me, eric@ericzaneshow.com. And that way, if you have a comment or a concern about something that I'm talking about right now in real time, I can interact with you. That's why we do it this way. Twitter, same thing. The show is live on Twitter via a Periscope video. The Twitter handle at Eric Zane Show is brought to you by Blue Frost IT and on YouTube. Also, search my name and you will see my YouTube channel. Please subscribe to all of those. That would be nice. And share this podcast in any way you can, whether that be on all the sources that I just said or just by telling your neighbor that I'm here, for crying out loud. Thank you. The numbers continue to go up. I have had a tremendous run of success with people that have been supporting the podcast and enjoying it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm on Instagram as well. The Mario Flores Lakeshore team of Van Dyke Mortgage brings you my Instagram. Okay, wow. Damn it. You know, this is a odd circumstance. So let me just say that this might be a little bit different today on the podcast because, frankly, when it comes to doing something like this, putting out content, it's kind of tricky business when you have something that's so lighting the world on fire in terms of what people are talking about. there are days like this that happen regularly, like an election or the Super Bowl or, something, in some cases, horribly a tragic mass shooting or killing or something like that. It tends to just unload on the world. So it makes it a little bit difficult to go down other avenues because your brain is always subconsciously pulling you back to the one thing. And that's kind of like the alarms that are going off in my head when it comes to discussion on the show about COVID-19 or coronavirus or whatever you want to call it. So, but at the same time, I don't want to be the guy to contribute to the hysteria and the panic and the doom and gloom that is getting worse. To me, I don't know what is spreading faster, the illness or the unbelievable, over-the-top hype and coverage. And I think that it's kind of difficult for me because I do have concern, but my concern is more of the feeling of concern for what people are doing and how the world is reacting. I am not overly concerned about coronavirus. And it isn't that I'm just, I'm turning a blind eye to it. I may very well get it. You may very well get it. But more than likely, much more than likely, we're going to be fine. In fact, the statistics show that if 99 of you get it, or 100 of you get it, 99 will recover just fine. 1 will die, according to the statistics. Now, if that's enough to make you freak out, well, I can't help you. But if you think, all right, this is a real thing, and there are precautions that should be taken care of, I agree with that. And, I have, to be honest with you, I've balked at the idea of canceling basketball games, and but, I can live with it. I understand. It is a little bit, it might be overreactionary. In fact, I think it is overreactionary, but if you're going to err about something and it's on the side of caution and public health, I'm just going to have to live with it. It's not going to ruin my day, and I'm not going to sit here and say you're an asshole because you're erring on the side of caution, Me, I'm going to go about my life as I normally would. Sure, I'll be thinking about washing my hands more. Of course, I don't really work in that public of a setting, but I do go outside and I do shop and things like that. But I'm not, in fact, it'll probably slip my mind that I have to be concerned about this. All right. So basically what I'm getting at is this show, a lot of what I have to talk about with you does center around that. I watched the Today Show this morning, and they don't have a dimmer switch when it comes to the practicality and the pragmatic nature of how I think it should be. I think that they are really, really laying it on thick about what we are facing here, and I just wanted to go over some things with you. COVID-19 symptoms. Now, this is from the CDC. This is what, if you get this is what most people will experience, what you may experience. Some are different. There's another story I have about a woman who actually got it recently, and I have her story as to what happened to her. All right. People may experience. Are you ready? Runny nose, a sore throat, a cough, and a fever. And in severe cases, you might have trouble breathing. And in the worst case scenario, like I indicated later, you're going to die. But they actually wrote, characterized by mild symptoms, including what I just said, runny nose, sore throat, cough, and fever. Illness can be more severe for some people and can lead to pneumonia or breathing difficulties. More rarely, the disease can be fatal. older people and people with other medical conditions such as asthma, diabetes, or heart disease may be more vulnerable to becoming seriously ill.
He got type 1 diabetes!
Rest in peace to your ears. Prevention. There's no vaccine. Obviously, you can reduce your risk by cleaning your hands frequently with alcohol-based hand rub or soap and water. If you don't have the alcohol-based hand rub, cover your nose and mouth when coughing and sneezing. Doing one of these deals. Avoid close contact 3 feet with anyone with cold or flu-like symptoms. That's it. The measures to cancel events, I can tolerate it. I understand. At first, I was a little bit, okay, this is ridiculous. But, again, erring on the side of caution, something we're just going to have to live with. The country of China, where this all began, if you remember, it was dominating the news. Every day, 500 new cases, 700 new cases, 1,000 new cases. The precautions being taken here, I think, we're more ahead of it than what they were there. That's why I don't think it's going to spread to that level. China yesterday had 18 new cases. It's petering out. They have a handle on it. It's fading. Italy, not so much. However, the whole country's on lockdown. There's a quarantine. They're urging people to stay inside. They can't, keep them there like China can. But that should start to peter out, hopefully, before too long. In the United States, with what we're seeing, they ran out the numbers on the Today Show. And this is what bothers me. Because they ran with that statistic about 1%. 1% of people will die. And then they start doing the math on the air. And they're behaving as if 1 million people in the United States will get this disease. 1 million. And so then they're doing the math that 100,000 will die. They're actually doing the math on the air. And I'm like, come on. You must be kidding me. I don't care if Tom Hanks got it. I don't care if a basketball player, Rudy Gobert, got it. And by the way, of all the actors to get it and his wife, Tom Hanks, probably the greatest American treasure when it comes to filmmaking. I mean, why couldn't it have been some asshole? Think of the idiot, any idiot actor's name. Why couldn't it have been somebody Antonio Brown or Gary Busey or some dick like that? Tom Hanks, what? All right. So a lot of what I have to talk with you about today centers around the illness. I have articles, I have emails from people, and I want your feedback, if I could. Eric at EricZaneShow.com with what you think about. Let's see. Jason writes in, Corona craziness. Apparently there's an article, Chinese restaurants, racism. AOC says people are avoiding Chinese restaurants due to straight up racism surrounding coronavirus. This is what I'm talking about. She's claiming this. I don't know how accurate it is. Claimed that coronavirus was having racist side effects because people were avoiding Chinese restaurants. She says, honestly, it sounds almost so silly to say, but there's a lot of restaurants that are feeling the pain of racism where people are literally not patronizing Chinese restaurants. They're not patronizing Asian restaurants because straight up racism around the coronavirus, she said during an Instagram live session on Tuesday. I don't know if that's true. That sounds ridiculous to me. And a lot of people are calling her out on it, saying that you're blowing that out of proportion. Maybe people just don't want to go to Chinese restaurants because they are concerned about it, but that doesn't mean racism. She has been known to make controversial claims about racism in the past. All right. I better tread lightly on this. I don't want to go down this road. I probably should have pre-read that one. But that's just insane. All right. So Eric at EricZaneShow.com. There are a couple of other things I want to get into. So the NBA has suspended its season. Tom Hanks, you might be like, how did this happen? Well, he was apparently making a film in Australia. He is playing the part of Colonel Tom Parker, who was the manager of Elvis Presley back in the day. And so, yeah, Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson diagnosed with coronavirus. I'm going to read right from the article. In a statement posted to Instagram, Hanks said he and his wife were traveling in Australia when they were tested after exhibiting symptoms like tiredness, body aches, chills, and slight fevers. He writes, well, now, what to do next? The medical officials have protocols that must be followed. We Hankses will, or Hanks, you say Hanks apostrophe or Hankses, will be tested, observed, and isolated for as long as public health and safety requires. Not much more to do it than a once a day or a 1 day at a time approach. No, he wrote. A representative for Hanks confirmed the news to CNN, had no additional comment. Warner Brothers confirmed the actor was in Australia doing pre-production work on that film. We're working closely with the appropriate Australian health agencies to identify and contact anyone who may have come in direct contact with the individual. Warner Brothers said in a statement, the health and safety of the company members is always our top priority. We're taking precautions to protect everyone who works on our productions around the world. All right. There's about 120 confirmed cases of coronavirus in Australia. In the U.S., as of yesterday, there was 1,350 confirmed cases. Still 2 here in the great state of Michigan. They are in the Detroit area. The discussion was floated by my family members because this has been an ongoing thing about COVID-19 in the U.S. And I'm supposed to go see my dad on Sunday. And so Jacqueline is like, should we go? And I'm like, well, why wouldn't we go? And she says, well, because he's older, and if he does get it, we might even have it right now. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go that route. It is, I will take the precautions that I suggested earlier. Now, unless somebody, if they all mutiny against me, then, I don't know. I'll have to take that as it comes. But my plan is, everybody wash your hands like you normally would, and go on with your day. Relax. Don't panic. I can't believe that this has gotten to this point over a bad cold, a bad flu, a horrible flu strain, essentially. There are differences, but I'm using that as an example. All right. You know who might be wishing that he had the COVID-19 is a hockey player by the name of Mike Liambis. Hockey game last night. I'm at the rink. And Mike Liambis plays for the Iowa Wild. Now, let me just tell you, this guy has been playing in the American League for a long, long time, and he's a classic. The dude's personality is bigger than life. He's constantly in the penalty box. He's constantly beating people up. Liambis, on a regular basis throughout the years, when he comes in the penalty box, all of the guys at the scorer's table know him. We're like, hey, Mike, how are you, buddy? How you been? And he's like, hey, guys, how are you? There has been times that he has come into the box after beating somebody up or getting beat up, and he goes, oh, God, give me some ice. And they get him an ice pack, and he puts it on his face, and he goes, fellas, how are you? What's going on? Hey, man, how's your family? I mean, the dude is just a absolute treasure. I love Mike Liambis. So much so that when he skates out for the warm-up, everybody's like, yeah, pointing at him, and he, bangs on the glass, or he shoots a puck right at us at the glass, and it scares the hell out of us. He's just awesome. Love Mike Liambis. Now, if I remember the last time the Griffins played the Iowa Wild, who are the second-best team in the American League, they got a guy on that team, a forward by the name of Jerry Mayhew, who's got, in 48 games, 39 goals, 22 assists. Dude is on fire this year. Should not be in the American League. He's been beating the shit out of everybody all year long. So anyway, Iowa's really, really good. Griffins have a tough game, and they need wins. Griffins are like a 500 team at best. Just a couple games over, just a couple more wins, and they have losses and are fighting for positioning for the playoffs. And they could still actually theoretically be knocked out of the playoffs. Hell, we might not even have a season now after all this bullshit going on. Liambus, well, he doesn't back down from anybody. Now, early on into the game, like 3 minutes in, Red Wing prospect, and this will be his only year he is here in Grand Rapids. He's that good. Moritz Seider, our first-round draft pick last year, who has had holy shit type of a hockey season. I mean, really, really good. You must, if you care anything about hockey or if you are a Red Wings fan, you must watch Moritz Seider play. Now, if you're only go to Red Wings games, you will next year. But to see this guy who is, I don't know, about 8 months older than my daughter Madison, he's 18, blow everybody up and play hockey better than everyone on the ice is really, really great. I've never seen a player play like he plays. Now, the thing about it is defensively, I have learned to watch for different things because there's obvious things with a goal scorer. You know, does he put the puck in the net? How does he get open? How good are his hands? Seider, it's different. It's how he plays defense. And there is, you're looking for different things. Well, he's got all the bases covered right now. Rarely does Moritz Seider make a mistake. So, Liambus is going to hit Moritz. Moritz has the puck, and he is just near center ice, and he's about to dump it into the zone. He's standing still. Liambus skates in and is going to hit him. And regardless of whether Moritz gets rid of the puck or hangs onto it, it will be a clean hit. It's that he's that close to him. So Liambus has a head of steam. Now, this is a bad idea because I have seen numerous times this year that if you hit him, he's got something where I don't know if it's superpowers or what, but whoever does the hitting ends up taking the brunt of it and gets hurt. Let me just say, I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this because Liambus hit him, and he was moving fast when he hit him. I could hear the impact through the glass, and Liambus vanished. And Seider did not move. It was like a man running into a bronze statue. Seider didn't wince. His facial expression didn't change. Nothing happened. And Liambus so vanished like someone was doing the Skull Cracker Challenge or whatever it is. His for all I see is his skates go up, and he's gone. He's now dropped below the dasher board. And this was right in front of me. This wasn't like it was way in the center of the ice. It was right in front of me. And I turn around and I look at the timekeeper or the timeout coordinator and I go, oh my God, did you see that? Whistle blows and the whole crowd goes, oh, it's bad. This is a hell of an impact. Liambus does not get up. First, the play continued for a brief second, and then time stopped. The whistle blew, and he's laying there. And I stand up and I look over the dasher board, and something's happened. And I'm fairly certain that for a short interval of time, he lost consciousness. Linesman skates over and says something to him. Liambus kind of perks up, looks around. He's got a look on his face like, I don't know what happened. Did you get the number on that bus? I'm not kidding you. Never, ever, ever have I seen anything quite like this. Have I seen someone do the hitting, yet get 100% of the impact, and now he's concussed bad because he starts to get up, and he's up on his knees, and then he goes back down onto his hands and knees with his face down, like he's doing like a cat stretch. And everybody's like, oh, boy. So the trainer comes running out, and they have to escort him off of the ice, right into the locker room. You do not pass go. You do not collect 200. You will not play hockey for the rest of the game. Done. Gone. Wow. Holy crap. I immediately said to the replay coordinator, I go, did you get that? Do we have that? We need to see that footage. Damn it. That camera angle is a little tricky for the camera setup that we have with the Griffins, and no one will see it ever unless if someone has cell phone video. Oh boy, that was a hell of an impact. And Seider, it's like nothing affects that guy. Seider did get a concussion about 2 weeks ago when he was hit and his head hit like the ice or the boards, but showing no effects. Whether you like hockey or not, it was incredible to see. Okay. Again, it's a little bit weird show today because I got most of what I'm talking about is about this stupid damn virus but I do have some emails I want to read to you about several things coming up in the next thing that we're going to talk about. One is about the virus, and two are about my interview with Jerry Wayne. Jerry Wayne, that is the guy who, if you recall, former President Biden.
Can I wipe my
Oops.
You're full of shit.
That guy. He was in here yesterday. If you missed that, I'm going to recap that. And then I want to get to some of your emails. As always, you can reach out to me, Eric at EricZaneShow.com, for anything that I'm talking about in real time. I just refreshed the email. If you have something you want to say, I'll try to make it a habit of going back to that. Bennett Flooring Installation. If you want to have the flooring installed at your house and you don't want to be like a dummy like me and try to do it yourself, have the experts at Bennett Flooring Installation out to your home. Okay? If you want more information about where to reach them, go to my website, EricZaneShow.com. Bennett Flooring Installation is whom you want to call. Their number is 269-838-8816. 269-838-8816. Call upon Bennett Flooring Installation, and they will travel to your area in West Michigan. And that's all free, of course, giving you an estimate. We've had a number of Zane Show podcast listeners who have done just that, and I am so appreciative of your support of the sponsors of this podcast. Thank you to them. They're on Twitter, too. Follow them at Flooring Bennett, especially if you've had them install your work. They love to get that support on social media. Thank you again to Bennett Flooring Installation. I post pictures all the time of the work that they do. The befores and the afters, all very, very cool. So if you want to get a terrific new setup with flooring, call upon Bennett Flooring Installation. They sponsor me on Patreon with the Smarter Than a Former Drug Dealer trivia, which is worth $25 a game. They take care of that. And on my Patreon, in addition to that, they're doing a $1,500 flooring install. I'm guessing that would be carpet for you. Maybe not. $1,500 flooring install to everyone on Patreon. All you have to do is be signed up for that, and you are in the running for that drawing. That happens in April, so we are not far away from that. Thank you to Bennett Flooring Installation. A lot of people like, Zane, what about the folks at the health department? Maybe you should get them on. Yeah, if I get the people at the health department on, you know what they're going to tell you? They're going to tell you the same thing that I've been telling you. Wash your hands. Be vigilant. Be careful. So I'll take this time instead to tell you that this month of March is National Nutrition Month with the Kent County Health Department. If you think you need some assistance, maybe you have an underprivileged scenario or someone you know, maybe they don't eat the way they should because they don't have the cash for that. hey, it's time to use what is available for everybody that's in that unfortunate circumstance. WIC stands for Women, Infant, Children. Women referring to those that might be single and underprivileged, single moms, or maybe pregnant. Okay, these people, women, infant, children, they are vulnerable. They need nutrition. That's what WIC is all about, and it is there for you. There is no shame in this. I have family members that have had to engage the folks at the health department to take advantage of this. 616-632-7100. Call them for you or your loved one. Perhaps this could be something that they qualify for and take advantage of. It's there. Use it. 616-632-7100. Thank you to the Kent County Health Department. They'll be in, I believe, next week to talk about that initiative for this month. Every month, it's a new initiative with the Kent County Health Department. And boy, are they busy these days. You know why. All right. Whew. Crazy-ass day. So, I'm going to read a couple of emails about Jerry Wayne, who was in here. That's a guy who spoke with President or Vice President Joe Biden. I think I said President Biden yesterday on the podcast. I say something wrong like every single day because sometimes I listen back. I'm like, well, that's wrong. I just said something completely wrong there. What an idiot. But that was a real turn of events, the fact that Jerry Wayne, during the workday, as he's a union contractor, gets an audience with former President Biden, talks about, hey, why do you want to take our guns? And former Vice President Biden says,
You're full of shit.
And then all of that stuff goes crazy. The fact that somehow Dave Warner from Next Level Arms weasels his way in, gives the guy a gun, an AR-15, and then all of a sudden he's in this studio, this guy, Jerry Wayne. It was incredible. And when he walked into the house, he was on the phone with other media outlets who are trying to get him on. So it has been just a wild whirlwind of time for that guy, and I was thankful that he was able to come in here and hang out and talk. But the interview was met with, I thought, some well-thought criticism. And I'm really, really stoked about the feedback I got about this because, man, there's some great emails that are opposed to what Jerry said. And so because you guys, Matt and Brian, Bleeding Heart Brian, painstakingly had some thoughtful opposing points of view, I want to read them to you. Now, this is what the hell I'm talking about, people. Guns are a very sensitive issue. And the audience of this show is starting to get focused on how to approach the opposing point of view. Some of you are. And I think that over time, that can continue. Now, I know that these guys, I know I disagree with them. But since they really took their time and sent this material along, I just wanted to point it out. Matt writes this. Just wanted to pass along a few things. First of all, I've always enjoyed the show. I've listened every day since show number 1 on BBL. Oh, boy. While I generally consider myself conservative politically, one area where I dissent is on guns, or I don't entirely agree with you on the issue. That said, I thought that the interview today with Jerry Wayne was one of your best and one of the best I've heard on the subject. Well, thank you. It's very kind. Both your questions and Jerry's responses were thoughtful and compassionate. As someone who disagrees to an extent with both of your views, based on this interview, I'd be comfortable and interested in sitting down with either of you to better understand the rationale behind your position. Thank you so much for doing that interview and sharing it with us. He also includes some other information about coronavirus. That'll probably be touched on later. Brian is a little bit more exaggerated in his commentary, as only he can say. He writes, subject, Jerry, who's full of shit. Great interview. I do, however, challenge him on his response as to why he feels the need to have an AR-15. His response, fear of a tyrannical government, quote, a tyrannical government, end quote. Brian writes, yes, that is crazy talk and has no merit here in the United States. For a few reasons. One, there are about as many guns as people in the U.S. I have heard that. Giving about one gun to each resident of the U.S. This is not enough arms to overthrow a tyrant with the armament of the U.S. military. Two, Bleeding Heart Brian writes, any such leader would first have to persuade the entire military to engage in overthrowing the citizens of the United States. Well, when you put it like that, it does seem ridiculous. Three, a foreign threat. Again, we have the most technologically advanced military there is, and any foreign threat would be soundly defeated swiftly. Brian continues. A better response would have been, look, an AR-15, while it looks mean, is no different than a hunting rifle, and I like shooting for sport, for fun, and for social interaction with others like myself. The argument of tyranny is what gets anti-gun nuts fired up. I support the Second Amendment. I also feel we need some reforms to current firearms regulations and stiffen the penalties for offenders, require all arms to be registered, and all person-to-person transfers be done at a firearms dealer with same-day registration. I understand criminals don't follow laws. However, laws aren't meant to eliminate crime. They're meant to deter it and lay out penalties for those in violation. That from Brian. Little food for thought for you and for me, perhaps. As always, Eric at EricZaneShow.com. Regarding Corona, Tim writes this. Eric, thought you might be interested. Today, I'm an idiot. Today, the Make-A-Wish organization has canceled many of the current travel wishes due to COVID-19. Families that were getting ready to leave this week are now at a standstill. As of now, this is only affecting families that will be flying to their wish destination, but it could possibly be expanded. Tim continues. We are heading to Disney for Zeke's Make-A-Wish trip in 7 weeks. And as of now, this is his son. As of now, this will not affect us because we are driving down. I have mixed feelings on this as Make-A-Wish and the other wish-type organizations who work with children who have compromised immune systems are just taking extra precautions to make sure that the wish kids are kept safe and healthy. But I feel that we are exposed to many other life-threatening illnesses every day, like influenza, and no one is concerned about this. Now, seeing that the NCAA basketball tournaments are closed to the public, I think people are still overreacting. I'm attaching a screenshot of our Make-A-Wish group post informing families about the canceled trips. Have a great day, Tim and Zeke. All right. I am willing to suspend the hardline approach that I have for a period of time while people look for some type of foothold in confidence. And one of the things that's important to talk about is that in a country like Italy with 60 million people on lockdown, the U.S. is hoping to be out in front so that they don't have to do that. So that's why I think these measures are going in place. Yes, it seems crazy, I know, and I've said it myself. But after thinking about it, I think that a short period of time of being prudent and thinking this through is not too ridiculous. I really, at the end of the day, as long as the less people that are affected, the less potential casualties, That's really all that matters, right? And if that's what it's going to take, you see, we're hoping to see at the end of the day a lessening of people affected. And until we start to get to that point, like China eventually has gotten to that point, like I said, with only 18 people diagnosed yesterday, until we get to that point, there's going to continue to be people that are freaking out, and that's the last thing we need. I will say that I think the thing that bothers me the most is the media. And I am not it. I am not the media. I'm not the media when I'm on a podcast telling people that they're effing nuts or you're a stupid ass. There's no way I can be lumped in with the morons on the three networks who I 100% believe they are doom and gloom, causing a great portion of this hysteria. And I'm going to read to you an article in just a moment from a woman who says that exact thing, whose mother was affected by this, who is elderly, and she had an illness that was not COVID-19. In fact, I'll get to that next. Hey, you know the best way to keep your home clean from corona is A&D cleaning. Totally kidding. But no, seriously. Amy Porter wants to clean your house. If you're in West Michigan, call her. We got to get a clever nickname for Amy. The Guru of Clean? No, that doesn't work. Awesome Amy? Air Force Amy? No, that's the name of another famous Amy. Some of you get that reference. 616-550-3644. Thank you to Amy Porter at A&D Cleaning. Thanks for cleaning up after Denny. Blue Frost IT, the managed IT service provider for the Eric Zane Show podcast. When the world finally does get back to business, small and medium-sized businesses, we'll call upon our friends at Blue Frost IT. 616-200-8550. That's 616-200-8550. BlueFrostIT.com. If you wind up in the weeds with your tech, your network, your printer, oh my God, that's because you don't. Okay, that might happen. You want to be protected on a monthly maintenance plan from Blue Frost IT. If you don't own the business, think about suggesting it to the boss. Boss, it's super affordable to have our own IT department. Have you heard about this? Eric Zane talks about it all the time. What the hell are you talking about? Well, you see, we're always stuck here with our thumbs up our ass working on these computers when we should be working on whatever our trade is. If you had Blue Frost IT, we wouldn't have to deal with this. Okay? That's true. I want Blue Frost IT as a household name. I want them as common in your business as we have gasoline in our cars. Terrible example. All right, one more. When it comes to mortgages, the king, Mario Flores Lakeshore team of Van Dyke Mortgage. As usual, I'm 4 inches covering the sign again. Call Mario at his desk. Give him a call at 231-332-6505. I wonder if he's at work right now. What time is it? 8:47. He better be. If he's going to be, is he going to use the freaking coronavirus as a reason to skip work?
Hello, it's Mario.
Hey, Mario, it's Eric Zane. You're on the podcast. How are you?
Hey, good, man. How the hell are you?
I'm doing really well. In a nutshell, it seems like the whole world is talking about this COVID-19 coronavirus.
Yeah, it's funny. I just remember the day that you talked about it at first and say, everybody's scared for nothing. This will pass. This will pass.
Yeah.
And here we are, baby.
Yeah, I know. Do you think I look like a moron because I said that?
No.
Well,
no.
How do you feel
There's a lot
about
of people. Well, there's a lot of people that think that a lot of people are overreacting, and I don't know. It's been crazy, I think, in our market for rates and kind of what the future holds. I mean, no one's saying it now, but I kind of have a feeling on that. I mean, the stock market went to hell, it came back, gone back to hell again. And, you know, a lot of people think that that's a direct effect on rates, and it is, but it's a slow trickle. It's not something quick. And, you know, there was a 3-week window where rates were smoking.
Yeah.
And now they're back to where, you know, they were 3 weeks ago to a month ago. But people don't realize that because all you hear is the Fed's cut. And, you know, it's a different mindset for sure.
So it's a little.
Don't get me wrong. Rates are still good.
No. It's a little tricky, but yeah. Sometimes it's nice to just bounce stuff off of you. I'm glad that you pick up the phone. What time do you get after it every day?
Well, I'm also a football coach, and we have lifting in the morning, and at 6. And then what happens is I try to get here by 7:15. But lately I've been getting here earlier than that, skipping lifting because I've been just trying to get caught up with these refinances. We're busier than hell with refinances right now.
Yeah. Now I won't take up too much of your time, but are you referring to the Ironman, or are you referring to something else?
Of how busy I am?
No. When it comes to football.
Oh no, I'm also a football coach at Fruitport High School. Very proud football coach there.
Well, I knew that Nate was, but I didn't know that you were.
Yeah, I've been kind of sticking around there for the last 16 years. I started with Coach Wilson as just a volunteer assistant, and then I was there for a while with him, and then Greg Vargas took over, and I was there with him, and then now Nate took over, and he let me stay on the staff to be like the big fat water boy.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to hear that you had to have played football when you were growing up because you're very tall, and I imagine you were just killing people.
Well, don't let the belly fool you. You know, a lot of drinking over my time.
Oh.
But I played at Mona Shores High School. I graduated from Mona Shores High School in '88, and life happened. You know, I didn't have my grades. It really wasn't a priority. I was getting recruited by a lot of different colleges, but I just didn't meet the grade standard. And I ended up playing at Grand Rapids Junior College for Fred Julian, great coach, and I did well there. And then that's when I got in the pizza business. I ended up getting a pizza place on 54th Street and right across to the home of the Apollo Rock and Roll back in the day.
Right.
And I bought a small franchise there when I was like 19 and was in the pizza business until 2008.
So that was all right. Well, that's good. Well, look, I want everybody to know that you're also in charge of the West Michigan Ironman. I think that's no secret.
Yeah, it was kind of, I didn't let anybody really know too much, in the last couple of years, but now I tell a lot of people I've had my head in the sand.
Did I just out you? Should I take that out? Should I delete that?
Delete what?
that I said that? I'm like, oh no. But
no, now I want everybody to know that I'm proud owner of the West Michigan Ironman. That's what I mean. I've always just kind of stayed to myself. I don't like posting or boasting or any of that crap. But I am now. That's the new wave. The social media. You got to be out there in front of it, or you're not going to do it. So now I'm letting everybody know I'm with a great company that's allowed me to do this and actually partnered with me, with Van Dyke Mortgage.
Yep.
And we had a great crowd on Friday. I wish we would have won the damn game.
I know it. Well, that league is no joke. There's some really great players in that league, and we're going to have our work cut out for us. But I'm looking forward to March 22nd.
Yeah, the league we're in now, or that we were in last year, they did a very good job in vetting teams and getting different, organizations in that were worthy of get this league, and it's going to be a good competition back and forth. And Muskegon faithful is strong, and they support. Whatever.
That was a good time. All right, I'm going to cut you loose. I just want to call and say hey and get your thoughts on this whole thing.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you very much. I'll see you next Sunday, and go Ironman and go Van Dyke Mortgage.
All right. We'll talk to you, Mario. Thank you so much.
Yep.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye. Mario Flores. It's like, hey, what do you call him at his desk? He's always there. Very, very cool. Thank you to him. The article says, I had COVID-19. I take it back. I'm going to read the woman. I'm going to read the one I told you about first, about the lady whose mother had COVID-19. And she is criticizing the media over the hysteria. Spokane, Washington. A woman is criticizing the media over the mass hysteria surrounding COVID-19 and the effect it had on her mother's medical treatment in Grant County in Washington. This article from just the other day. Heather Harris, in a Facebook post that has been since gone viral, for lack of a better term, her mother was admitted to the intensive care unit at Samaritan Hospital in Moses Lake with severe pneumonia on Sunday. Mom quickly became septic, and medical staff worked for hours to stabilize her vitals. Quote, her blood pressure was half of where it needed to be. Her heart rate was way too high. Her oxygen levels were low. During all this, they started sending samples into the lab. She tested negative for the flu and negative for a bacterial infection, Harris wrote. That meant it had to be a viral infection. And then she writes, and because of the fear-mongering media, the doctors were required to also test for COVID-19 along with hundreds of other viruses that it could be. Harris said the mother had some flu-like symptoms and had traveled, but only within the U.S., and that her doctors did not believe that her mother had COVID-19. She continues, however, because of the media coverage and uneducated panic by the majority of our population, she was denied transport to a better hospital that had a pulmonologist. It was the most helpless feeling knowing in that moment that if she needed a higher level of care, she would not have access to it because the Department of Health was concerned about the paper trail required in transporting a possible COVID-19 patient. So they were like taking a precaution that she felt was fueled only by panic and speculation. And a lot of people agree with that. I do to some degree. She said Sacred Heart Medical Center in Spokane had approved her mother, but since doctors could not rule out the coronavirus, the Department of Health would not let her go. Her family had discussions with the doctor and nurses about the action plan, about what the action plan would be if mom took a turn for the worse while being at an ill-equipped hospital. Meanwhile, the hospital and staff were required to treat Harris's mom as if she were positive. But that meant quarantine, hazmat suits, no visitors. Harris and her dad were the only ones allowed in the room. She said they were required to wear masks at all time while having a hand-washing system in place and paying close attention to their own health since they'd been, quote, exposed. After 2 days, Harris decided to stay in quarantine with her mom while her dad went to care for her sister, who has special needs. Sister was being cared for by other family members at that point. Thankfully, the results came back, no COVID-19. She thanked the medical staff for going above and beyond. But she's talked about the media, experiencing this all firsthand and being thrown into the trenches. I can't help but think of other patients being spoken about in the media. My heart goes out to every single one of them and their families. Being in the hospital, fearing for the life of your loved one and coming out with the best treatment plan should be your only worry. But we had to worry about so much more. The media coverage, limiting who we told in fear of the unnecessary hysteria would cause. Trusting the staff would allow HIPAA laws, and most importantly, trying to keep my mom calm through all of it. She said the media has caused unneeded worry, and the uneducated are fueling the fire. She goes on to say, and ends with, the embarrassing amount of immaturity I had to witness while quarantined to the hospital by my own friends and people from my hometown on Facebook about this, about the coronavirus coverage was irritating. There are real people out there suffering. The virus is not a laughing matter, but the online childish behavior is. The hysteria coronavirus caused my family to stress more than we needed to. People have lost all perspective. The news media is reporting on every single observation case and allowing the communities to panic. They're failing to remind the public health that the virus is treatable and not life-threatening when support care is given. Social media, in the end, is the true virus in all of this. Her post has been shared more than 1,100 times. You need look no further than turning on a network show. And there's no grain of salt in everything. It's all full on. We must panic. We must have extreme vigilance in how we behave. Panic. We must act crazy. That's what I'm getting to. This lady had it. Elizabeth Schneider is sharing her experience. She's like, this is what happened to me. She lives in Seattle, which, by the way, out of all the people that died, most of them are in this area. Like 39 people have died in that area. The rest of the country is like 2 a state, 3. And not every state that has people affected have anyone that died. Fuck. And the reason why it is because it did infect an old folks home or something like that, or some care facility where a bunch of old people died. It's awful, but I mean, that was what happened. Just the fact. So this lady is talking about it. Elizabeth Schneider. She got sick. She recovered. She's sharing the experience so that you know what you're in store for if you catch this thing. And you probably won't. 37. Lives in Seattle. She's a marketing manager. She got the virus at a house party on February 22nd. No one felt ill at the time. 40% of the attendees got sick within a few days after the party. A couple days after the party, Schneider said the fever hit about 103. That's pretty high. She also said she had a headache, or she had body aches, joint pain, and she was really tired. I never went to see the doctor because I just thought I had a nasty flu. Her friends from the party were keeping tabs on each other through Facebook. Are you sick? Yeah, I'm sick. Oh, fuck. I can't believe we did this. Shit, this is terrible. Who was sick? Who's the asshole that showed up sick? I don't know. Since so many of them felt sick, one of them suggested they contact what's known as the Seattle Flu Study. It's a local research effort among medical organizations to track the flu. That group sent her a kit, and she did the old swab in the throat thing, put it in the deal, and sent it back. March 2nd. 5 days later, the research director with the flu study called her and said, no flu. She's like, oh, shit, what's going on? Yeah, you got coronavirus. She's like, what? By that time, she was already better. She said she felt shocked and sobered by the news. 5 other friends also tested. She said 5 of her friends also tested positive. So there you go. There's your outbreak right there. Schneider said some other friends were in their 40s and 50s, had slightly different symptoms than she did. Each of them had a fever. Hers lasted 8 days. Some had nausea. Others had diarrhea. This is all a great muse for the My Corona song. Come on, John. We need the song. Where is the music? I wrote the words. Why do I not have the music, John? It's on my 24-track machine. Well, fucking mix it down. Jimmy in Maine wants to sing the words. I don't want to put the song out after no one has the virus. She said none of her friends had to be hospitalized. Very few had chest tightness or any respiratory symptoms. Illness lasted about 10 to 16 days for everybody. Hang on. I got to admit, I started coughing yesterday in bed. I had a little throat tickle. I thought, oh, God, I got it. Shut up, Eric. Schneider said she wants people to know how easy it is, that how you can spread it and how long it lasts. Yeah, we get it. She says, I know that some folks are thinking that this won't impact them. I hope it doesn't, but I believe that the overall lack of early and pervasive testing damaged the public's ability to avoid the illness here in Seattle. I agree with that. I do agree with that. I agree with all this shit, actually. But the only thing that gets me is the doom and gloom. People are getting the shit scared out of them. It's going to be okay. It will be fine. Buy. That's the other thing. The markets are up and down. Everybody's lost their money. I had a friend of mine reach out to me. He goes, the United States has lost 25% of its wealth. I go, fucking, it'll come back. Go buy now. Buy cheap. Now is when you buy. You dummy. Washington leads the country in COVID-19. There is a sustained community transmission there, according to the CDC, with hundreds of reported cases. As of Tuesday, we're on Thursday now, so this is an old article. Talks about how many Texas had, and on and on. Yeah, I know. People getting it. Hand washing does not guarantee you won't get sick, she says, especially when folks without symptoms are contagious and could be standing right next to you in any given social situation. You more than likely are not going to die, but do you want to risk spreading it to a loved one over 60 or someone with an immunity issue? Stay healthy, folks. Yep. All right. I can live with that. I really can. All right. What I don't agree, and I saw a comment said, yeah, this is the liberal plan. No, it's not. No, it's not. Not that. People are getting sick from this. And they're going to experience what she experienced, and they're going to be okay. Most of them will. Could the cure be found in a Tennessee computer? One of you sent me this article, and I'm like, what? What are you talking about? This sounds ridiculous. There is a claim being made that a Tennessee supercomputer has the cure. As always, for anything at all that we're talking about, reach out to me, Eric at EricZaneShow.com. Before I get to anything else, oh boy. Here's the thing. When I see an email from my friend Kenny in Nashville, Tennessee, that says, read now, live, COVID-19 perspective from a person in Italy yesterday. Now, if Kenny says read it, that means it's probably going to be shitty. I'm just kidding, Kenny. That's why I'm checking the email. I haven't pre-read this. I have no idea. This is what it's like in Italy. Quote, I write to you from the red zone, a place where we can go out only for buying food, where stores, bars, and public transportation are about to be on total lockdown like it happened in China. And if you want to move from town to town, you need a certificate to show on the military checkpoint. I'm no scientist, no doctor, but I am here. This is what we know. This is more contagious than influenza. Not more deadly. Okay? More contagious, it means it spreads easier. Now, I haven't heard that. I've heard that it's 10 times more deadly from people in this country and the World Health Organization. And I've heard numbers that have varied, but generally we're in the same ballpark. What is being portrayed now is 0.1% of flu virus, people who get the flu die, and 1.0 who get COVID-19 die. Food for thought. This also happens, this person writes. It attacks the deeper part of the lungs. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's why I sent this. Just making me happy. At the moment, all the ones who sadly passed didn't pass because of corona. They passed because corona made their previous conditions worse. All right? If you catch it, you are not doomed. If you are healthy and you have no previous pathologies, you could even pass it without even noticing. Then why all the hysteria? Here is why. Not all of us are healthy. Not all of us are young. And if all of us get sick at the same moment, those unlucky people who need the hospital will fill all the hospitals, like it's happening here in Italy. And I have heard this talked about. They don't want to flood the hospitals. If hospitals get filled, not everyone will have the chance to be cured. In case you will hear, quote, in Italy, if you are 80 years old and you are attached to a breather and a 70-year-old comes in the emergency room, they turn you off to save the younger one, and so on. This is true, this person writes. I have friends who work at the hospitals. Plus, emergency rooms are not only there for corona, they're there for car crashes, heart attacks, people who get injured, and whatever else. People who listen to stupid death metal. So please, my fellow Americans, don't be selfish and think, I am okay, fuck off. Because if you are okay, it doesn't mean you didn't catch it. So it could mean that if you visit your grandpa, who may already have pneumonia, you are putting him in danger. Keep your elders home. Keep people with pathologies home. And if it goes like here in Italy, God forbid, and the experts tell you to stay home, even if you are healthy, stay home. I wonder how my dad feels about this. Remember how I talked about in this podcast earlier that I wonder if I should go and visit my dad who's turning 86 years old? Hopefully he'll pick up. He's not expecting me to call. So he might not be picking it up. Ba, 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 ba. Corona, 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 Corona.
Hi, you've reached the phone number of Joanne and Rob. Please leave a message and we will return your call. Thank you.
Hello, you've reached the phone of Joanne and Rob. Please leave a message, and we will return your call. Never has he sound more ethnic. Thank you, Kenny. I appreciate your help. Eric at EricZaneShow.com. If you want to interact with me in real time on the podcast. All right. These 4 amazing businesses did something that I'm encouraging you to do too. That is the Eric Zane Show budget program. These 4 paid a unbelievably cheap rate to get mentioned on the podcast. Now, I don't go as in-depth with them as I do all of them, but they still get their message heard. My point, you, even if it's just you and your business, can get your message heard on this podcast that is being heard by more and more people every day. And hell, if we keep doing interviews like we did yesterday with people in the news like the one and only Jerry Wayne, more and more people are going to be in this thing. I got billboards up all over the place. The numbers are going up like the spike in illnesses in the U.S. and Italy. It's a terrible joke. These 4 made it happen, and I made it happen for them. JM Synthetics, selling AMSOIL products. You can get to their website, jmsynthetics.myamsoil.com. Let me double check that. jmsynthetics.myamsoil.com, or just go to ericzaneshow.com. 616-747-0233. Show Gunsmith, BK Guns and Stuff. Also in Saranac, Michigan. Get to their Facebook page by clicking on the logo at ericzaneshow.com. They are at 616-902-2447. Repair your gun, clean your gun, refurbish your gun, customize your gun. Firearms transfers. Prince Arming. Want to get your CPL? United States Army Major retired Steve Prince. The next class is a 2-dayer. April 30th for half the day. May 2nd for half the day. Set you back $125. That's what you need to get a concealed pistol license. 616-204-1706. And finally, last but certainly not least, since 1975, the best pizza in West Michigan comes out of Franco's on Alpine and Grand Rapids. Call them today. They open up at 11 for lunch, 4:30 for dinner. 616-301-7307. 18-inch, 1 topping, pickup only, feeds 5 for just $14. I almost forgot that. Did you see the gears spinning in my head there? Okay. It's been a weird-ass day. Trying to keep this freaking train on the tracks. Trying to make it so that you're like, the only thing he's talking about is a fucking virus. Yeah, I know. I know that. That's the only thing people are talking about today. All right. The Oak Ridge National Laboratory in Oak Ridge, Tennessee is right next to Knoxville, where I used to live. That's where the key components for the Manhattan Project were created. And you know what that is, don't you? The end of World War II, as we blew up Japan with 2 atom bombs. The Oak Ridge National Laboratory is where those key things took place for the making of those bombs. Okay? I've actually delivered food for a radio station lunch visit to the Oak Ridge National Laboratory, and talk about a level of security like you wouldn't believe. Sitting there on the air on the legendary WIMZ with Billy Kidd, 103.5 WIMZ. And we used to do the same thing, the old radio trick, deliver lunch. So we go and get our damn chicken wings, and we take them to your business. Well, some dude at the Oak Ridge National Laboratory signed up for the free lunch. Fuck. We head over to get the food, go to the lab, and then you got, I mean, not kidding you, man. It's like we had a background check right there to make sure we weren't spies. By the time we got, there was supposed to be a lunch visit. We didn't deliver the food till like 5. It had all turned. They just threw it away. Well, my point is, there's a reason why the security is so high there, because they do some high-level shit. A couple of researchers have been working on a cure for COVID-19 with a device that they have there. It's not even fair to call it a device. I've read about this thing. It is the world's most powerful computer. Sounds ridiculous, but it's true. That computer is at the Oak Ridge National Laboratory in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. The computer is known as Summit. Boy, I don't know. Did they name it after the legendary basketball coach who used the late, great Pat Summitt? Rest in peace. It works as fast as 100,000 laptops at the same time. It's capable of doing calculations very, very quickly. That's an understatement. The response to the new coronavirus needs to be quick, said Jeremy Smith, director of the Center for Molecular Biophysics inside of the lab. Smith said that the work it can do in one day would take months on a normal computer. So I'm guessing it's like massive calculations. You like hit a button and then the thing, like a normal computer, will have to think for extended time to get you the results, you know? Kind of like my old laptop when I was trying to do this podcast. Remember that shit show? I remember with that laptop, one of the things I remember about that thing, which I still actually use for my on-location recordings, is when Alan from Blue Frost punched up a couple of things, and he goes, "Here, I want to show you something," and it's like a meter, and on my computer, because of the amount of work it was doing, it was pegged at 100%, and it wasn't like bouncing at all. It just goes and stays there, which is why the thing would crash. This damn thing, this Superjet computer he has here, it like teeters at like 10. It's like, yeah, no problem. Screw you. That's kind of like this supercomputer. Okay. Jeremy Smith and Nicholas D. Smith, a postdoctoral fellow and soon-to-be UTK professor, began digital calculations to try to find a drug that might work against corona. The process has worked in the past to find treatment for diabetes and osteoporosis. Can't resist.
You got type 1 diabetes!
Juice was not worth the squeeze. The computer performed simulations on more than 8,000 components and narrowed it down to what they believe is the right sample to fight the virus. Now the researchers plan to test the digital remedy on an actual sample. They say the solution could be tested on an actual coronavirus sample in the next week. Why can't I read today? Digital remedy, I'm not sure what that means. Typically, researchers' work is submitted for peer review before publication, but if their calculations are correct and the experiment works, it would be published immediately for faster distribution. If the work is successful, the process is unsuccessful. The process will start all over again with the supercomputer. Well, I mean, yeah, that's great that the supercomputer is working on it, but yeah, I want some numbers here. I want days and weeks, or weeks that we could possibly get something going here. I mean, yeah, I know they're working on it, but I want some actual hard numbers. Don't give me anything that you're working on it until you actually have something that works, you know? All right. Man, I worked really, really hard today. It may come as a surprise to you. I worked really, really hard trying to get a litany of different things to talk about. But son of a bitch, this is really starting to weigh heavily on me at how much is this all going about this corona thing. It pisses me off to no end, but we do have to deal with it. So I think that's the best it's going to be. And hopefully it won't be as swamping of a plethora of stories about coronavirus tomorrow. But all right. So this is what the plan is. The plan was to go and do Hockey Heaven with a couple of players from the Griffins. However, and that's on location, there is potential that might not happen. It all depends on what the American Hockey League says. There already is a system in place that says that you can't be within 6 feet of a hockey player so if I do this interview, I have to have like distance between me and whoever I interview. Or it might not happen at all. The whole damn hockey season might go away. The NHL is saying they're going to play it by ear and just have precautions in place. They don't have a player sick. The NBA does. So we shall see. Keep your fingers crossed, folks. All right. That's it. Go about your lives as best you can. Take it all in. Breathe it in. Enjoy. Enjoy this madness. Thanks, folks. I appreciate your support. I appreciate the kind words. Follow me on Reddit, reddit.com/r/The Eric Zane Show. Hire me on Cameo. That won't get you sick. Cameo.com/Eric Zane. And as always on Patreon for more podcasting. The $5 or $10 you give me a month keeps the lights on for the podcast, and you might win some flooring from Bennett Flooring Installation. Thank you, folks. Have a great rest of your day. God bless.
Come on down.
You look so amazing in that sundress.
Okay.
Get out!
I have a penis.
You're full of shit. You're full of shit. You're full of shit.
And don't nobody want their child to be sick, and don't nobody want to take that virus to their house. But I wipe my children backpack down when I got them out of school. Sure did, gave them gloves, sure did.
You're full of shit.